On our last show, we heard from the students' perspective and their excitement after the SUNY Chancellor Esports Challenge for the upcoming year and their esports programs. Today, we'll hear the other side of that coin from the faculty and staff joining us across SUNY schools and how they plan to support esports programs this year. Let's hear what they had to say.
All of us as SUNY schools are engaging our demographics, are trying to retain students. And there's no mystery what retains students. We all know what it is. They have to be engaged on campus. They have to be in clubs. They have to be in activities. And we have our athletes, and we have our artists, and we have our performances, and we have our debate clubs. But there is a group out there that is resistant to engaging in these social activities. And in the past, we've been told that these video gamers and these technology nerds, if you want to call them, they don't do anything. Well, esports has shown us, yes, they do. We have to create offerings for them on campus that will engage them in the institution. We just saw all these students shouting out their colleges. They're wearing the gear, and they're proud of this. And our faculty members want to give the students the platform to be connected and identify with their institutions.
I want to say, from a student life and leadership development perspective, I was so impressed with the students who came forward. They came forward with the prepared constitution, with the rules, with how it was going to look. And there were so many things from, community norms to, the respect for each other. And I think the student from SUNY Canton was saying that earlier. It's like, it's an amazing thing when you have a group of individuals who have a passion for something. I think it's giving a lot more legitimacy to a club activity now being in a SUNY system level. And I also think it's going to be a great thing for future recruitment. I mean, everyone now is working on thinking about who's going to be here next year, what are we going to do? So if there is this opportunity to virtually connect and do esports, then I think it's a great kind of net to throw. And I think the SUNY tournament has been a great opportunity for our students to get involved.
Our esports program now just being newly launched means a ton to me personally and to our school, because it's going to eventually start increasing the number of students who are going to want to come. The whole thing is blowing up faster than I know what to do with, and it's amazing for the school, for the kids, for everybody, students, excuse me. Everybody involved. I think this is just a great thing for.
I do think this is going to catch on, just like everyone here is saying. It's very contagious, the excitement that it has, and we are very interested in growing the esports club at Ulster. Hopefully in the future it will grow even more.
I'm not a gamer. I never really have been. I'm going to age myself a little bit here, but if you want to talk about Legend of Zelda or Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, I'm your man. But since then, I know very, very little about this, and my eyes have really been opened because of this tournament and the response it got from my campus. I have the ability to send campus-wide emails to all of the students, and I had to do that for this to get interest for this tournament. And the response I got from that email was really overwhelming. I had to turn a lot of people away. I had people, keep on pressing, saying, listen, I'm on the esports committee here, and I'm ranked second, and you let a person in who's ranked sixth. And my mind was kind of blown. I'm like, you guys have rankings and stats and all this? So yes, I'm late to the party, but my eyes have been opened, and it's going to pave the way for an esports, a funded esports club at Purchase in the very near future, hopefully in the fall semester.
Finally, 2020, we can come out and admit that we do play video games.
One of my favorite comments from one of our guests, who is an educational technologist at SUNY Empire, he said, it's 2020. We can admit now that we're gamers. I think that was just such a funny comment, and also very well put in relation to what you're talking about. The esports community didn't really exist before, and I think that's something that surprised me a lot, is that the students had to be the ones to take the initiative. The students had to be the one to fight the perspective of parents or others, staff, that didn't really support it because they thought, well, you're just having fun, you're just playing games, it's not really beneficial to you, and I don't want to encourage that. And I've seen that perception changed so much since I started working with you guys during the course of the tournament. Randy, what's it been like for you as you know, talk about the community that's being built, the representation, and that's some of the comments that we heard from the students as well, that they're seeing support from staff that they never had before.
Yeah, I think that's one of the great things that higher education is able to do for our esports students is put some framework around it and some behavioral expectations and some structure that they normally didn't have, just gaming by themselves or in groups that when they're not representing their school. So the pride that students feel when they're able to put that jersey on and represent their school is just fantastic. And as we've seen throughout this tournament, the importance of teamwork and sportsmanship and leadership and social interaction is just, it is so valuable to our students. And you can see that they recognize that as well. And you can also see it from faculty and staff members working with these students, what a difference it makes in their lives. So it's just fantastic. And that's one of the most rewarding things about it, is when it's so tangible and so immediate. You know, the tournament's only been a 3-week tournament, but you've seen the excitement and the recognition from the folks involved and how terrific it can be in bringing an esports program to their school. It's fun to watch and it's really rewarding.
Yeah, that's a great point. Kyle, you heard so many of this faculty and staff say during the interview that they're going to support going forward an esports program, that they're going to put some formality around it and fund it in different ways, right? Organize it and recruit more. How does it feel for you to hear all of those, educators talk about the support they're going to give going forward?
Oh, it's rewarding. You know, when you think of a bunch of people sitting behind a computer screen, you typically don't think in higher education of them supporting that as an academic endeavor. And to hear, academic and support personnel at higher ed institutions come around and say, hey, maybe this isn't just a waste of time in front of a computer or time in front of a gaming console. There are tangible outcomes and positive outcomes for these students that are involved in esports.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy, you talked about, esports being a sport just like anything else, and the camaraderie that it builds, that benefits that it has on the student body and the engagement. And a lot of the educators talked about the retention rate of their students. What do you see from a retention rate improvement along the 2 years that you guys have been building your esports program? Which, by the way, I can't believe it's only been 2 years. It seems like it's been way longer than that.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, that's for sure, as we've seen it grow. And it's one of the reasons why we started esports at SUNY Canton. Our president looked at our traditional athletics and said, they're better retention rates, they're better graduation rates, their GPAs are higher, they're more satisfied with the school, the alums are more connected, that sort of thing. What can we do to expand that? Where can we create even more of this? And esports was right there. It was convenient, and the enthusiasm from our students was palpable. So it really was an easy move for us once we decided to go in that direction. But you can see it, and you can even see it. We take a look at re-registration rates at SUNY Canton, and when it comes time to register for courses for the next semester, the top groups of students re-registering early, and a higher percentage are traditional student athletes and esports student members. So it's there. You know, the percentages are there, the GPAs are there, the retention rates are there. It just makes sense. Students who are engaged are going to be more happy, and happy students are going to stay at your school and they're going to graduate, and that's what we love.
Builds a lot of school pride, doesn't it?
It sure does. Yeah.
Charlie, one thing that surprised me is the professionalism that the faculty and staff just wasn't aware is being built, is being nourished through engagement with esports. A lot of these students, like we talked about, have to take initiative, have to find ways to organize their teams, have to come together to practice without somebody telling them to do that before it's a formal, a formal program at a school. What did you think about some of the comments we heard related to the soft skills that the students are building and the professional skill sets that they're going to come out of college with?
That's one of the topics I was so impressed with when we were in our interview the other day with the other colleges. These students know what's on the line. They know that they get one shot to try to impress and show that they are willing and able and mature enough to create more structure around what previously was just a hobby. They understand that they need to be able to show that there are outcomes. They need to be able to show that they can manage themselves and manage each other like adults would expect out of traditional athletes. All those types of good social development behaviors that we're looking to foster. These students know that this is why I need to be disciplined. And so they are going to be front runners, and you're going to see those front runners be the ones like, SUNY Oneonta's club president creating an amazing Rocket League team out of nowhere, professionalism, excitement, and not just Oneonta. You're going to see that across all other colleges.
I totally agree, and I can't wait to see it come to fruition over the course of the year. Would love to hear, Justin, from you and Alec, both of you, what did you think about the support that all these schools are getting from the staff? Did it make you excited? I'm sure that it's only going to mean more competition for you, and of course, you want better competition, right?
The fact that there's so much support going into the collegiate level makes me happy, because there are only a few schools just in general in the college level that I've heard that even have arenas and that are backing support for this. And it makes me happy as somebody who started in esports, like a club team at my high school, where we actually joined in high school leagues. And now that colleges are going in that direction, we'll be able to see that transition into the high school level. And that evolution of where esports is going, I think, makes me extremely excited for the future and the next round of esports athletes coming up.
It really is awesome to see that not only are we seeing like the expansion of faculty and awareness to both esports, but we're also seeing casual gaming as well as a potential like focal point of interest for these colleges. And it's just awesome to see that sort of stuff expand.
Well, we've had the privilege to hear from so many different perspectives, but there's one that we have yet to share. Not unlike other sports and male-dominated fields, there are adversities for women to break through some stereotypes. Let's hear what the women of SUNY had to share.
I have a somewhat unique perspective compared to the stories I've been hearing. I was president of the gaming club at SUNY Poly when I was a student there. Being a female gamer growing up in the mid to late 90s, I faced some personal adversity online. There was a lot of times when I was first starting out that if I went somewhere with when I was a club president, when I went somewhere with my vice president, people might turn to him all the time to ask the questions or expect a response. And he'd look over and be like, "You're looking for her. She's the one that knows what she's doing here." And you can imagine that also, helped kind of give me more of a backbone if I hadn't faced that adversity, and really made me stand up for myself and others in my time as a student.
I can agree with Jennifer's comment. I was in this sort of AV background, which was largely male dominant, and I went into a career path in media, and now I'm working in higher education. So I sort of have, as far as, outreach to students, I can sort of feel that tension when it comes to, a student who's trying to find himself or herself, and the outlets that they can have through gaming and building those confident people, to become future leaders. And I think that I can agree with Jennifer in that way, and having these experiences carrying into your professional term is just amazing. So the students really do rise to the occasion all the time. And I think this is great soft skills. We're always looking for those transferable, hireable things. And there's so much to this that is transferable and hireable.
They really talked highly about the skills that they gained, not only from critical skills and applicable skills to professional career, but soft skills as well. I thought that was really interesting. What do you think about that, Charlie?
Jen had a great point. So she mentioned that she had played esports when she went to college for SUNY Poly. And I know, just being an esports coordinator and being involved with esports myself, you don't succeed in esports unless you have rapid critical thinking ability. You take someone who was gaming in isolation, you bring them into a regimented team-based environment, where then they now have to actively problem solve with people that they previously could just turn their microphone off and ignore, where now you have to actually look at that person and work through your problems like you would in an office, on a job site. Regardless of where you're going, you're going to have to look someone in the eyes and disagree with them. It's going to happen, So previously, I don't think gaming on your own would get you that type of problem-solving skill or that interpersonal skills. You've really got to be able to get, and look someone in the eyes and say those type of things. So that's ultimately, I think, what her point was. And I couldn't agree more.
And that's really important considering that so many people, so many students, even from SUNY Canton, come up and say, I'm more confident. I have better communication skills. I can, I'm more comfortable in a room full of people. I think that is just such a huge benefit. But before we go, I mean, are we going to see more of SUNY versus SUNY, a SUNY Esports League? Are we going to see more of that this year?
I think if we took away one thing from this tournament is that people wanted more of it, right? So I think we were about one day in and everybody said, hey, are we going to do this again next year? And then after a week or two, people started talking about maybe we should think a little bit more along the lines of a league or a conference, or more regular play, SUNY versus SUNY. So there's been some discussion along those lines, and we're certainly taking a look at that because I think it has some terrific potential.
The kinship that you feel across SUNY in an esports tournament like this, I've never really felt that before. And that was a great experience for me, and I think for my students to see their competitors across the way at a different SUNY school. We have kinship together. We're of the same cloth here. So that was super exciting to see.
It was remarkable how quickly it came together and how successful it was despite these circumstances. And I think folks felt pretty good about playing for charity as well in order to help try to fund some schools' COVID relief funds. So it was a great experience.
You guys must feel so proud of what you've done here, to hear all of these schools have enlightenment on the programs, on esports programs, and what it does, not only for the retention and recruitment of students but the benefits that they get, the inherent benefits, the communication skills that it builds, the community that it builds, the engagement outside of the esports community as well, right?
Well, we can't thank you enough, Erica, for all you've done for the tournament, all the hard work, all the hours and hours and hours of interviewing people and editing video and things like that. That was terrific. We can't thank Extreme enough for co-sponsoring the tournament and help us really bring it to reality, and for supplying a terrific donation for prize money. And the Chancellor has been fantastic. It was her initial idea for this tournament, and with her support, we just knew it wasn't going to fail. So it's been a terrific group effort from everybody and all the SUNY schools. We can't thank them enough. It's just been so rewarding and terrific. So thank you.
Cheers to that. I'm really excited to have been a part of it, and I look forward to the next esports tournament.